Despite criticisms from stakeholders, the Education Department believes there are many reasons to celebrate. In a virtual opening ceremony, Education Secretary Leonor Briones notes that over 24 million elementary and high school students have enrolled to return to remote learning.
This is about 93% of last year's enrollment, and we expect more to enroll because we usually allow late enrollment this time up to the end of the month.
She said this is a clear indication that the past school year was a success. Briones also cited initial graduation figures showing most grade 6, 10, and 11 students finished their studies last year. Several groups have been pressing DepEd to gradually reopen schools, especially in areas where students have limited to zero access to gadgets and internet connection. A report by the United Nations Children's Fund, or UNICEF, says students learn less when they study at home as compared to the traditional classroom setup.
Kinakatakot ng mga teachers baka in the next few years we have learners who don't know how to read, who don't know how to write.
President Duterte has yet to decide on a proposal to implement pilot face-to-face classes in areas low risk for COVID-19. By the end of September, the Philippines and Venezuela will be the only countries who have yet to reopen their schools.
Face-to-face is crucial, but we know that we cannot depend on it all the time, and so we have to adjust.
This is something that many stakeholders find difficult to understand as they face problems like incomplete modules and poor internet signal. AC Nichols, CNN Philippines.
The palace says the president gave a positive response to the proposed pilot run of face-to-face classes, but it adds there is no green light as of yet. The COVID-19 task force met this morning to finalize the details of the pilot run of the general community quarantine status with the alert level system in Metro Manila, but until now there is no word yet as to what will happen to the capital region after the 15th. The NCR is under the stricter modified enhanced community quarantine, or MECQ. As of September 12, the ICU utilization rate in NCR went up to 78%. 65% of isolation beds are occupied, while ward beds are at 72%.
Wala naman pong contention. Pinaplan na lang po finally. No? Dati naman sinabi ko na yung dalawa na hindi pa napagkakasunduan. Ano yung alert level para sa Metro Manila, at pangalawa, hindi bigyan nga ba ng mga pribilehiyo yung mga napakunahan na.
The Octo Research Group says there is still a significant growth rate in Metro Manila's COVID-19 cases. Researchers explain they initially saw a decline in the reproduction rate in the region after it reached 1.91 on August 14, but it has somehow stopped moving at around 1.35 to 1.45, which could mean the interventions in place are no longer working. Reproduction rate refers to the number of people that an infected person may transfer the virus to. If this will not decrease, Octa says NCR could have 10,000 new cases a day before the end of September. Let's now head to the Senate, where the Blue Ribbon Committee resumed its investigation into the alleged anomalies in the government procurement of COVID-19 supplies. Chinese businessman and former presidential economic advisor Michael Yang, however, was in a show in today's hearing. Amos Santos joins us live. Amos, where is Yang now?
CEO Michael Yang's lawyer says the Chinese businessman is still in Davao City, but his doctor advised him to go on bed rest for 5 days due to severely elevated blood pressure. The Senate has issued a warrant of arrest on Yang for allegedly lying during a hearing on Friday, but this has yet to be served. At this morning's inquiry, Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Richard Gordon asked Yang to log in despite his health condition, but towards the end of the hearing, lawyer Raymond Fortun said he will send his client's medical certificate instead.
He's still under contempt and under an arrest for contempt, and he would have to appear. I think blood pressures go up and down. You know, that always occurs. When somebody is under investigation, they come in a wheelchair, show their picture, and they cannot appear. Or they're in a hospital bed. Mr. Yang is still healthy enough, as far as I'm concerned. I think he can face the music.
The committee approved a motion to request the Justice Department to place Yang under the immigration watch list. Formerly pharmaceutical director Lincoln Ong, meanwhile, is now under house arrest after he was cited in contempt. Members of the Senate Office of the Sergeant at Arms are guarding his residence. He was allowed to stay home since he has COVID-19. Ong testified that in 2020 he asked help from Michael Yang in paying suppliers so Parmalee would be able to deliver in at least 3 government contracts worth a total of over 7.2 billion pesos. That's bulk. Of the 8.8 billion peso contracts awarded by the procurement service to Parmalee that year, it's still unclear how much exactly Yang lent to Parmalee, but Gordon pointed out that Yang was involved in all big-ticket projects of the company. Gordon pressed Ong to name the suppliers they transacted with, but Ong hesitated, saying he had been receiving death threats. He only named a certain brother Tiger and Wang Ji. The committee will subpoena documents related to these transactions. Parmalee Chairman Wang Chuyen maintained that the face masks, testing kits, and PPEs they sold to the government were not overpriced. He also denied winning government contracts because of their connections. Pia?
Amor, the Senate earlier subpoenaed Michael Yang's associates, husband and wife, Lin Shilong and Roslyn. Did they attend today's hearing?
Pia, they were also a no-show, but Roslyn's lawyers sent the committee a new address where the subpoena can be served. Roslyn is an incorporator of Parmalee Biological, but Parmalee Pharmaceutical Chairman Wang Chuyen insisted that this is a different company. Meanwhile, Yang earlier admitted that Lim Wei Xiong is his business partner, but lawmakers wanted to know if he's the same person as the Alan Lim who is linked to illegal drugs. Yeah?
And when will the next hearing be?
That's for Friday, September 17th, and that will be the 7th hearing on the alleged mismanagement of pandemic funds. Yeah.
Amor Santos there reporting. The Philippine Red Cross says it is not worried over President Duterte's threat. The humanitarian organization says it will continue to serve Filipinos with or without government support. Chrissy Di Matulak has that story.
In the coming days, I will write you a letter to open up your records, because I will also request Aguinaldo, and I am sure he knows his business, that there is money in Red Cross belonging to the government which he has to look into. Ngayon kung ayaw mo, napipilitan akong totally disassociate with you.
The president recently threatened to stop government transactions with the Philippine Red Cross if it will refuse to submit itself to government's audit. Senator Richard Gordon serves as chairman of the humanitarian organization. Gordon earned the president's ire amid the Senate's Blue Ribbon Committee inquiry into the Health Department's COVID-19 fund, which the senator also leads.
Malaki naman pong pondong nabibigay ng national government sa Red Cross, no? Galing po sa PAGCOR, galing sa PCSO. Kinakailangan po kasi sumunod sa sinasabi ng saligang batas at ang batas na basta pondo ng gobyerno o pwede pong i-audit ng Commission on Audit.
PRC's legal counsel Attorney Lorna Kapunan clarifies that as a non-government organization, PRC is not subject to audits from the Commission on Audit, a view which COA also shares. Kapunan says COA can audit the donations of government agencies that have contracts with PRC. But should PRC submit its financial reports to the government?
We do it monthly to our government nominees in the board. No? Pero pag gusto ng presidente, magbigay ng annual report, kayang-kaya naman magbigay ng Red Cross anytime ng kopya ng annual report.
The PRC adds the palace should be familiar with how they spend their funds, since there are presidential appointees in the Philippine Red Cross Board of Governors. Most of PRC funds, Kapunan says, come from donations of private entities and a budget from the Red Cross Federation based in Geneva, Switzerland. PRC says the rift between Duterte and Gordon will not stop them from fulfilling its humanitarian duties, including providing COVID-19 testing and vaccinations. Kapunan also says the government, through PhilHealth, still owes PRC from shouldering COVID-19 tests.
Lulutang pa nga ng more than half a million, about 600 million ang PhilHealth sa Red Cross.
Chrissy Di Matulak, CNN Philippines.
Coming up on Newsnight, lawmakers question the need to shell out convenience fee for the Quarantine Bureau's yellow cards. Plus, Filipino-American singer Olivia Rodrigo bags major honors at the VMAs. Find out who else won big. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines.
Muna na po ako.
Okay, ingat ako.
Dahil araw-araw, tayo ay hinahamon na mabuhay ng tapat at may integridad. Sobrang supli dahil ang mapagkakatiwalaan sa maliit na bagay, wallet niyo po, ay mapagkakatiwalaan din sa malaking bagay. Pero ang mandaraya sa maliit na bagay ay mandaraya rin sa malaking bagay.
Nagsimula sa isang pangarap.
Ako na po, ma'am.
Ika'y tutulungang ibahin ang buhay na nakasanayan.
24 months ka na sa pag-ibig.
Pagulog na ako sa motor.
Uy, bagong motor!
Gagawa ng hakbang para mapaghandaan ang forever. At harapin ang bukas ng may maaasahan. Simulan mo na ang forever mo ngayon. Fund your forever with Pag-ibig Fund.
Register today.
Friends, try nito. Vet-approved Nutri-Chunks in lamb flavor. With active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real lamb goodness. With essential nutrients to help keep them strong, healthy and happy. Listo, kalado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Para sa mga maingat pa, magpabakuna. Ingat pa nga, bakuna lahat.
Welcome back to Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. 30 lawmakers want an investigation into the 370 peso charge for yellow cards issued by the Bureau of Quarantine. As of now, travelers and overseas Filipino workers are required to pay 300 pesos for the certificate and 70 pesos for a convenience fee. Tristan Adavo reports.
Overseas Filipino workers and travelers patiently wait at the main office of the Bureau of Quarantine in Manila to get their international certificate of vaccination, or also known as yellow cards. Most of them were walk-ins like OFW Espina, who is bound for Hong Kong.
Medyo pahirapan kasi ang daming kailangan appointment, registration, tapos ang lalayo pa na schedule, alanganin sa schedule mo.
Another OFW, Mary Jane Bernaves, has an appointment for her yellow card by end of this month, but her flight was adjusted to an earlier date.
Nandito kami nakalinya dahil sa naghihintay. May schedule na po kami, hindi pa rin kami nakapasok sa loob.
The Quarantine Bureau is also charging 370 pesos for the yellow cards. But some are questioning the 70 pesos convenience fee on top of the actual card price, which would be burdensome to OFWs.
The 70 is not a lot for some people, but if you have millions of OFWs applying for that, and there's 70 pesos, now that's a huge money of earnings for the one who was granted the contract.
Garin wants to dig deeper on the background of the fintech company Piso Pay and how it bagged the contract from the BOQ.
The services offered is also expensive and not really the best.
The hearing is expected to be held in the next 2 weeks. Piso Pay, on the other hand, says it's ready to explain the convenience fee imposed on the yellow cards.
The convenience fee covers yung payment collections and services. Pero ang hindi kasi nakikita rito is we also develop the internal system of the BOQ. We fully digitalize their operation on processing the ICV or the yellow card. We are going to face the probe or the investigation of the Congress if we are invited.
Meantime, another lawmaker pushes for making yellow cards free for OFWs. Some lawmakers support the move to make yellow cards free for OFWs, but this would depend on the budget of OWA and POEA, which were depleted due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Bureau of Quarantine, on the other hand, appeals that only those with confirmed flights should get the yellow cards, citing lack of manpower in the agency. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
Here are stories making headlines overseas. China scrambles to contain a new COVID-19 outbreak in the southeastern province of Fujian. Authorities believe a traveler from Singapore sparked the outbreak. He tested positive despite spending 3 weeks in isolation. Officials did not reveal when, where, or how the man caught the virus. Over 60 people have been infected so far, including 15 children at a primary school in Putian City. Over 2.9 million residents were ordered not to leave the city unless absolutely necessary. Schools were directed to conduct classes online. Cinemas, gyms, and libraries were also shut. A state-run news agency claims North Korea test-fired a new type of long-range cruise missiles over the weekend. The missiles were reported to have successfully hit targets more than 900 miles away. North Korea said the new weapons system had been in development for 2 years. The announcement comes just as the top nuclear envoy of neighboring South Korea heads to Japan to discuss the situation with Pyongyang. But South Korea and the United States are still looking into the claims. Supporters of Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte are still pushing her to run for president next year. They launched Hubong Para Kay Sara, a citizens' movement aiming to convince the presidential daughter to reconsider her decision. Last week, Mayor Sara reiterated she will not run for the top post. The movement also wants President Duterte to abandon his plans to seek the vice presidency and give way to his daughter.
Talaga sariling pag-iisip po siya, number one. Number two po, naniniwala po kami sa kanyang strong will, and also we believe that she is a refined version of her father.
Despite all his effort po na pagandahin ang bayan natin, may mga pagkukulang pa rin, and her being independent-minded will be able to correct kung ano ba yung mga kulang po sa administrasyon na to.
Last week, President Duterte accepted the vice presidential nomination of a PDP Laban faction. Mr. Duterte earlier said he will give way to his daughter if she decides to run. Now, political strategists believe a Go-Rodrigo Duterte tandem is far-fetched. Aside from Senator Bongo insisting that he will not run for president, the consultants say the center lacks the numbers. Alan Herman adds the tandem may just be a front to mislead voters. Bongo had earlier declined PDP Laban's presidential endorsement. President Duterte, meantime, has accepted the call of the Kusi-led faction of the ruling party to run for VP.
There is a there are whispers, of course, that this is a smokescreen, indeed, as you said, that eventually there will be some sort of magnanimous move to step down.
It just doesn't make sense for them to do it. I mean, as simple as that. I mean, there's no sense.
I've seen a lot of numbers too, and I agree with Greg that if we look at the numbers, it just wouldn't fly.
Catch that full interview with political strategist Lito Banayo, political consultant Greg Garcia, and campaign strategist Alan Herman on the return of Politics as Usual tomorrow at 7 p.m. Still ahead on Newsnight, we put the spotlight. Still ahead on Newsnight, we put the spotlight on two Johns making history for the country. Athlete Ernest John Obiena for setting new records in pole vaulting, and veteran actor John Arcillo for bagging a prestigious award in Venice. More after the break.
Is not always easy to keep. But when it is to the ones you love, it's unbreakable. For all your unbreakable promises, Ford Everest. Bank of Commerce. What we are is personal banking, where we understand that every deposit is your hard-earned money. Every loan is for good reason. Every service aids in your convenience. Every business of ours is meant to grow yours. We hear you, feel you, and react on your every banking need. Bank of Commerce, an affiliate of San Miguel Corporation.
Gumagaan ang inuman pag San Miguel.
Kamusta ako? Stress sa work, kaya ini-imagine ko nasa beach ako.
Tapos ng mabigat na araw, mag-inuman with friends at San Miguel. Pilitin natin to. Ang alin? Imagine? Hindi, mag-inuman!
Just opened up a new chapter in the foldable innovation with the launch of the Galaxy Z Fold 3 5G and the Galaxy Z Flip 3 5G. For the first time, you have an S Pen support as well as the first Android display camera in a foldable phone. Both devices offer substantial durability improvements including IPX8 water resistance, another world's first for foldables.
There's so much to like about it. I'm truly amazed by the smartphone. I've never seen or experienced anything like it.
It's a fully functional smartphone and a fashion accessory at the same time.
Pre-order starts on August 19 to September 21. And when you pre-order, you get freebies and discounts worth up to 27,400 pesos.
Watching Newsnight, I'm Pia Ontiveros. Filipino Olympian EJ Obiena has solidified his name as the best pole vaulter in Asia. EJ broke records in the 2021 Golden Roof Challenge in Austria. He set new Asian and national records after hurdling the 5.93-meter mark for a gold medal finish. He also came fourth in the ISTAF Berlin Continental Tour today after 3 tries at the 5.91-meter mark, but only clearing 5.81 meters. In entertainment, the 78th Venice International Film Festival has recognized one of our own for Best Actor in director Eric Mati's long-awaited film sequel. John Arcilia took home the Volpi Cup for his performance in On the Job, The Missing 8, which is set to premiere at HBO Go on September 19. The first picture of the crime thriller franchise was released on the platform yesterday.
There's another virus that is also actually happening globally, and it is the virus of hate that has the same effect, the effect of separation because of our differences of skin and maybe political colors. Eric Mati, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to play Sisoy, and I was able to share this message to other people.
Other recipients of this accolade in the past include Brad Pitt, Sean Penn, and Willem Dafoe. The On the Job sequel also served as the sole Southeast Asian entry in the main competition. The MTV Video Music Awards today honors many of this year's biggest names in the industry, including Lil Nas X, who bagged the Video of the Year for Montero, Call Me By Your Name. Justin Bieber also won the Artist of the Year and Best Pop VMA for the song Peaches with Daniel Caesar and Gideon.
Thank you so much to the VMAs. Hey, can we give it up for Giveon real quick?
Thank you so much for having me. Justin called me randomly on FaceTime one day and said, do you want to do a song? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do the song.
Artists won multiple awards, such as 18-year-old Philam singer Olivia Rodrigo, who also took home 3 Moon Man trophies despite being a first-time nominee. K-pop group BTS similarly won 3 categories, including Group of the Year, and with her Best Cinematography win for Brown Skin Girl, Beyoncé cemented her spot as the VMA's most awarded artist with 30 trophies to her name. You can visit cnnphilippines.com for the full list of winners. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again at 7 for News.ph. I'm Pia Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
This program is brought to you by
is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Got a long day ahead? Well, you deserve to take a break. So chill and join us here in Wholesome Meals, A Better Life. Now, the next half hour is filled with nutritious and stress-free meals for the whole family. I'm Christine Jacobs Sandejas, and this program is brought to you by San Miguel Corporation. Now, since working from home is definitely the new norm, our days have been really hectic. Despite the deadlines and chores, you can actually whip up delicious meals for your loved ones, and that is why we're here. Now, to help us out, we have Chef KC. Hi, Chef. How are you? Hi, Christine, and hi to all our awesome viewers. That's right. Now, Chef, I see that you've got amazing, take a look at this, amazing ulam ideas for all of us today.
That's right, Christine. Preparing a healthy lunch or dinner can be stress-free when you choose the best ingredients, just like ready-to-cook Magnolia chicken templados. We have Cajun barbecue chicken and shrimps and the creamy chicken barbecue rice casserole.
Wow, Chef, you outdid yourself once again. These are not just mouth-watering meals na may enjoy ng buong pamilya. It is also nutritious and so easy to whip up. Magnolia chicken templados are pre-marinated so you can cook it straight from the pack and you have a full meal already.